it, you won't believe it. So most of the people I know that have been successful have been extremely confident in what it is that they're pursuing, where their ambitions lie. I tell you, also resilience. Everything you set out to do, every path you set out to walk, may not turn out the way you planned it to turn out, and a lot of times you get a lot of doors closed in your face. I was told 25 years ago that I would never, ever be on the radio. I can never be a radio personality because of my voice and my West Coast accent. That was 25 years ago, and I'm still doing it, you know, so successful people have resilience, a high resilience rate. You learn from so-called failures. And if you really believe in what it is you're trying to do, if you're passionate about it, if it's not for superficial reasons, my reasons were to push culture forward was my reasons for getting involved in the music business. And I've kept that as my foundation, is how can I push culture forward? How can I give back? How can I help people reach their dreams? How can I, be a contributor, not a customer? And I think most people who are successful share those resilience, determination, confidence. Those are some of the things I think a lot of successful people possess. And also a lack of ignorance, meaning anything you want to do, you might want to research it and find out the history, trace back history. It's a lot of code in history. It's a lot of formula in history. These cycles that go on in the music business are reoccurring cycles. Right now we're in the digital age, and people are more independent minded and more autonomous. You can do things from your home. You can do things, without the help of major record companies or major corporations. You can make a name for yourself. That's similar to when I was coming up. We were doing DIY ourselves, do it yourself, independently. We couldn't get signed to record companies. We did it independently. We found out ways by studying distribution, studying marketing, studying promotions. We really educated ourselves on what it is we were doing. So preparation is always a key too. You gotta be prepared so you don't let opportunity pass you away. That was a good question, by the way. I never really thought about that, but that was a good question. So those are some of the things I found are common denominators to successful people.
Jordan just said he liked my jumper. That's what's up.
For me, in my experience, one of the biggest things I feel like that artists are always stumble upon is they confuse their way with the initial direction of what you want to do with your career. And I think that that's very, very, it's crucial to whatever you're trying to do. We all understand, we all got our brains, we all got our creative natures. Of course, when you spend 40, 50 plus hours a week working on your music, honing into your craft, you feel like you have the best outlet or the best mindset of what you need to do with your music. That's not always the case. It's not always the case. Sometimes somebody on the outside, your manager and or someone who's helping you along the way, understands your initial direction. They don't have any stake in how you change your emotion of what you want to do with your song and the things how you want to drop your mixtape from day to day. They don't have any stake in that. They have stake in, I want to make the best possible product, and I want to take this product and make it seen and heard amongst the people. That's what they have stake in. So you have to really sit down and understand your initial direction of what you want to do with every step that you take and whatever you feel like is just your way. You know what I mean? And I've run into that a lot with a lot of young artists, even with, with the boys, with the Cali Swag. It was a big thing. It's 4 heads. Everybody has an idea of what they wanted to do. And us as a team, and me curating a lot of their different music in their past, it was always about, what was the initial direction? Let's always go back to that. What's the initial direction? And when they understood that, we were able to make magic and do what we do. So I think that's one of the biggest things that kind of frustrates artists at a certain point in time, is just understanding that.
One of the things I found is this is probably something that's always worked for me. I'll speak for me. Relationships. Having relationships with people, personal relationships. Outside of the music business, sometimes I'll give an up-and-coming artist my number just to build a personal relationship so I can understand your story and see where you're coming from. And you can understand me and see where I'm coming from. And it's not always on business. Sometimes we'll go out and break bread, have a steak or something, drink a beer. I mean, it's about having that personal relationship with people in the business as well.
Before I say something, I just want to, can y'all do me a favor? There's a lot of people that pay money to be here to listen to these people up here. I mean, you just heard like 3 very important people say something, and I can't even, I'm trying to learn too. I couldn't hear it because I'm hearing conversations out in the audience. So there are people that pay to listen. If you're trying to have a conversation, take that shit outside or inside. I understand you're trying to network, but people are trying to learn in here. I'm not trying to be an asshole or be rude. People are trying to learn, okay? Or keep it quiet at least. Damn, I don't want to hear your conversation all the way up here, and I can hear my man. He's right next to me. So anyway, success, I don't know how to be successful. I'm not there yet, but I do know the keys to getting there. And one of them is falling down 7 times and getting up 8. Learning to learn. You're never too old to learn. I've been in this business 25 years and I'm still learning. With this whole new millennials and the everything that's going on in the digital age, you have to learn how to adapt. I've been able to adapt. I think I've been good at it. And I've learned how to be patient and learn how to take criticism. And I learned how to build off of that and take it to the next level. So 25 years is nothing to sneeze at in this business, especially with one company. I've been with the same company the whole time, 25 years. So I guess I could say I'm kind of successful, but in order to get to that, I had a lot of failures that I've been able to overcome because I never said no. I never let it get to me and never, turned down an opportunity to take it to the next level. And those are the things I think that it takes to be successful.
On my side, a lot of people, every person that's successful, they're able to communicate. A lot of times with especially a lot of independent artists, I can get a phone call back from one of these guys on the panel before I can get a phone call back from an independent artist or an email back in response to an opportunity that we're trying to present to them. And then, that's it for me, man. Like communication, like y'all not able to communicate your vision and your dream and reply back and keep people informed about what you're doing, then, you're wasting your time.
Well, for me, I feel like no one has ever been successful without a team.
Just like Jay-Z.
So, depending on what you want to do, figure out what you need, or who you need on your team, and place those people in those positions accordingly. Don't just do it because it's your best friend. Why would you make your best friend your manager if he doesn't know how to manage? So, that's just one thing that I always learned. You always have to have the right people in your corner and build that right team to make it successful.
I just will expand on what my brother Rel just said, and that's team building. I've been fortunate to be a part of a lot of successful teams, and the one thing that I've seen consistently is that those teams only stay together if the people are willing to stay together, so there's resilience in that, 1. And 2, they only stay together and they're only successful together if they are, committed to doing that. And so, meaning that, one day, like Bill said, if I've got a personal relationship with Bill and I know that Bill may be going through something, whatever it is, but he's my teammate, I'm going to pick up the ball and run and do, take it over and make sure that Bill is covered and not discount him as a result. A lot of times, again, this is bigger than the music business. This is just success one-on-one. It's like, there's a lot of, what I've seen in the music business in particular, there's a lot of, you can relate it to sports. There's a lot of sports analogies here. So if you've ever played on the team, basketball, football, or whatever, you know the camaraderie that it takes to have a championship or have a winning team. It's the same thing here. You've got to be able to build with your teammates. You've got to be able to have,
to be, you know, compassionate to what they're going through, but at the same time, hold them accountable for what for your expectations and what you all got in it for. And no man can do this alone. That's one thing that, you know, no man, woman, it takes a team and a village to do this. And the last caveat that I would say that is critical for success is that it has to, you know, what I've seen is that if you're chasing the money will run from you. If you're doing it for something bigger than the money will flow. And that's, you know, so if you do it for the culture, you do it because you love it, it's going to keep you up in the middle of the night, it's going to be a burning desire. And then the money is going to be so far down the line that it doesn't matter. The one thing that I see for failure more than anything is people chasing the dollar and people chasing the money. Now mind you, we all got bills to pay, right? So I'm not saying like, you know, expect people to do things for free, but at the same time, you've got to find people that buy into your vision, buy into your passion, and are like-minded, and are doing it for the same reasons that you're doing it for, and not just the coins.
Go ahead, Reggie.
The first thing I would say is listening. You know, it's funny how we gotta tell people, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. We came from all over the country to be with you here today, and we gotta tell you to be quiet. So God gave you what? 2 ears and 1 mouth, and every time I come to Cleveland, I listen. And I'll tell you what it is when it comes to listening, because HEff will tell you when I first came here to Cleveland, we were listening to what the artists had to say. We brought several of them, and Sway will tell you because he had them on his show. Look at this Sway's Universe. We brought Ray Jr. to New York City. We brought Ezzy to New York City that you see on Empire. We put him on the radio on a big platform first. So I come to listen to you, so I hope you come to listen to me. Sway, when he got his award, he also mentioned about respect. You know, you got some people on this panel right now, that's some powerful people that could change your life. They respected you enough to come out here. You got to give them that same respect. The third thing that I would say is, you know, the theme of my church this year, which it just hit me. The theme of my church was quality. Just like the clothes that we buy or the shoes or whatever the case may be, you choose brands on quality. And I think that quality is intentional. That's my pastor. I don't take credit for that. Quality is intentional. You know, you could put out anything and you could be a facsimile or something else, but guess what? You know, in this culture that's built on originality and quality, you got to put out some quality music. You know, and the last thing is, that I'll say is consistency. Can you do it again? Can you do it again? And can you do it again? You know, people like Jay-Z don't remain in this culture, you know, after, I don't know, 2-3 decades without being able to do it again and again, you know. Because I work so closely with Sway, you know, you turn on your radio every morning, 8 o'clock, he's on your radio.
It's true.
Can he do it again?
Yes, he
can he do it again? So you gotta ask yourself, you know what? Maybe I got a degree of success, but can I do it again? Will I get up tomorrow and be on Twitter and Facebook and be in these people's face as consistently as I was yesterday? Or you know what, I'm gonna take tomorrow off, or whatever the case may be. You know, and those are some of the things that I see that'll probably, you know, go a long way. Because after this panel, I'm going up there, I'm gonna find me a little spot, and guess what, I'm gonna pay you the same respect if you paid your money to be on this stage. I'm gonna listen. And we're gonna take the best of the best, as we did with Machine Gun Kelly, when I came for the Deal Makers Conference, as we did for every other conference that I came out here. We're gonna take the best of the best back. So, you know, that would be my qualities that I think you should take from this.
And then a lot of times that a lot of artists, like I do with a lot of artists when I'm on the road, they always tell me what they not gonna do instead of what they gonna do to be successful. And that's one thing. Like a lot of successful artists do everything that's they asked to do so they can become successful.
I want to quickly chime in on that before, because I know we got to get to the next question. one of my biggest things is, you know, we're all here. We're all here, and you're here for two reasons. Either you're here to possibly get an opportunity to take it to the next level, or you just don't know. There's things you don't know. And I'm gonna tell you off top, if you sit here and you wanna have conversations and try to network, people like this here, they're looking for the people who's sitting down and that's paying attention to what's going on. The other people that you don't want to see, that's going to overcharge you, that's going to steer you the wrong direction, they're looking for the people who's in the back trying to have conversations and trying to figure out where it's at. Those are where the sleaze buckets, that's who they go find. They go find them. But the ones that's paying attention, you're getting $1 million game right now, straight up. So if you don't soak that in, trust and believe there's somebody out there that's going to take from you and you won't like it, straight up and down.
I love it. Love to hear it. This is going to be a really interactive session. We're going to get into questions real soon. I just wanted to go over a couple things just to get your ideas on this, because these are things I want to know. So I'm talking to my record label guys, my A&R guys, management guys right now. We see a lot of artists that leave labels. You have that public divorce of artist and label. And we always get the artist side of what happens. And we always hear, oh, the label don't love me, it's all the label's fault, I'm not out, they won't let me put my music out, I can't do anything, and you always hear that side. What's the other side of what's going on in those relationships when they don't work between label and artist that we don't hear because the label isn't getting interviewed or they're not on the social media talking about it? What's the other side for these artists so that they know that it's not just label fault, that there's some artist culpability as well?
Well, for me, I would say it's their work ethic. A lot of artists, once they reach a certain amount of success, they get lazy. So when it's come time to put out the second album, they do everything but get in the studio. But you never see that. So, I mean, that's what I feel it is on some people.
I would say sometimes the companies and the labels, they see artists shift gears from what you've done or what you've put in work for your first album. You don't see it, like you said, in your second. And I mean just completely switch the way you want to do things. Like when companies sign you, they have an idea, a thought in their head of how big you can be. Sometimes if you don't match up to that thought of what's in their head, they want to move on to the next. They want to get rid of you. We're looking at you and we see a multi-million superstar. We're seeing somebody who's going to dance, perform, woo the crowd, come in, kiss babies. We're looking for that. We see that in you. We see that. The artist says, no, I'm from the streets. I want to show you I'm from the streets, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna make all the hood records I want to make. I'm gonna bring you 24 records of pure gutter music, and I feel like that you guys should put millions of dollars into what I just had an epiphany on 6 months ago. It doesn't work like that. When they see a vision in you, they want to capitalize on that vision. So you have to find that right medium in between what they see in you and what you really want to do. And that's very important on how you decide to come out or display yourself or indulge in your craft. Especially if you're an artist out there, no disrespect to nobody, but especially if you're an artist that feels like that they need to change their style and their cadence with the times and not hone in on what they truly do. There's artists out there, like you said, Jay, you know what I'm saying, Ludacris, Kanye. These are artists that can change with the times musically in some rights, but you still get that core, you still get that real them. You know what I mean? If you don't have that, trust and believe, the minute you get that deal, it's gonna be all bad for you, for real, straight up.
Let's switch over. I want to talk to James for a second. Attorney is so funny because people talk about who they're going to put together for their team, and they're going to get the hottest producer, and they're going to get the hottest graphic artist to make them this and that, and they're going to get this person, that person. but you never hear the independent artist saying, the first person I'm going to add to my team is that attorney so I can make money. Tell the independent artist the role of the attorney and how important it is to have somebody there to navigate contracts and money, which is something that they probably don't have access to.
Sure. So I want to address that issue, the question that you just asked, which is a great question, and I also want to go back to the question that you asked previously, because I think they're interwoven. And what I mean is that when you have a lot of times labels, they like you said, they buy into, if you got a record that's hot right now, then that's what they're buying into, that vision, that goal, that package. And what happens a lot of times that I see is that you get an artist who will come in and they will be underrepresented from either the legal perspective or a management perspective. And then a lot of times, because they don't have any experience, they're young, they have zero experience, so they come in and they want to put their homeboys on, right? And their homeboys don't know, their ass from their elbow, excuse me. But at the end of the day, they're putting them in a place where they have a multi-million-dollar deal, right? They've gotten maybe $100,000 in cash, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, and the record label has expectations. So if you come in the door with a record that's buzzing already, and I think Bill Black can tell you this, depending on how long that record has been in radio, you've got a certain amount of time to get your stuff together, right? And if you don't pull your team together, meaning that you don't go out and hire, the right lawyer who's not a traffic ticket lawyer trying to be an entertainment lawyer, or you don't hire the right manager who is just your homeboy who, thinks he knows a couple of local cats in the neighborhood, right? You really need to build your team for your situation, and you need to do it quickly. And a lot of times there's failure because people do not act accordingly to their situation. And therefore, like you said, the labels move on.
Very good advice. I'm gonna ask one more question, and then I'm gonna open it up to the crowd. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, step to this area. I'm gonna ask, if you're not asking a question, to step back a little bit. I want this to be for people that have questions that they're gonna ask. Let's talk to my radio guys for a minute. I'm a radio guy too. I have the big HEff show, thanks to HEff, the opportunity I have there to do that. But what are you looking for in terms of an on-air personality? Because I'll tell you, Bill, listening to 107.9, I've heard a difference in how your on-air personality is now than they have been in the past. I feel they're a lot more personable. But what does it take to be a good on-air personality? And the reason I ask that is we talked about it earlier. Everybody has access to a podcast, right? So everybody sits in their bedroom and they think they're really entertaining and they're a radio personality, and it's unwatchable. It's like you're flooded with bad stuff. What does it take to be a truly entertaining radio personality?
I think first and foremost is the relatability. How you relate to your audience and how your audience relates to you. I was talking to a programmer recently, and he picks his people by how many followers they have on social media. I don't really agree with that, because I like to see you in a social setting. Before I pick my team, I like to go out with my team and just know you personally. If you smoke, nigga, smoke. If you drink, drink. Don't do it to impress me, because that's not relatable to my people, my audience. This is what they do. This is how they kick it. And I want the people that work for me to be relatable. So when you turn on the radio, okay, that's Rodigga, and Rodigga likes this, that, this. I have that in common with Rodigga, or this is K-Nice, this is Incognito, whoever it is. I just like to be certain that my team is a real team, and they're real people, and you can touch and feel them, and you can have a conversation with them, and likewise, they can have a conversation with you. And I like your questions, young man. I've sat here and watched you at the awards a couple weeks ago. Your interaction, you have it, and a lot of people talk about it. I can't tell you what it is. I can tell you how to spell it, but I can't tell you what it means. But I can tell you have it, my man.
Brother, let's do something with it.
I think we should do something with it. Now don't call me Monday and say, you said, no.
By the way-
We'll work it out.
Honestly, appreciate that humble.
We'll just start with our arresting, engaging personality. Swing Galloway.
You know, I was kind of looking to.
I agree. I think Sugar Booger has I think what you have shown all of us, I think all of us have been established in the game. So, like he said, you have that it factor. You're able to recognize somebody. The it factor is when you can tell somebody put some real time and energy and passion and investment in their craft. Therefore, you're creating a result that's unique to you. Your line of questioning is interesting. It makes us want to answer, and it's giving us a chance to answer questions in a way that we normally don't, you know. And I think that authenticity is what makes a great radio personality, something that bleeds through the frequency, something that, you know, or the screen, or however people are listening to you or your show. That's why I went to Sirius XM, having worked in terrestrial radio for so long. Sirius XM, when Reggie Hawkins actually brought me over to Sirius XM, talked to me for about a year to convince me to do it, because I was just really kind of disheartened with the music business as it is. I always try to move in an underdog way to keep myself grounded. One of the things I said to him is I want to create a show that encompasses everything that I'm about. I don't want to be pigeonholed. I've sat in the White House with the president, so I don't want to just be seen as a one-dimensional personality or journalist who only talks about rap music. That's, you know, rap is, you know, that informed me, that raised me, that's how I got my feet on the ground. But I talk about politics. I talk about health and fitness. I talk about every average everyday things. I talk about my relationships. I talk about family. You talk about things that are relatable to every average everyday people, and that kind of creates a bond of trust. And people listen to you. They trust your word. They trust your information. Same with artists. You know, what someone was saying earlier, that being authentic is really a key component to a lot of successful artists who created careers, who move past just moments. So I would say to find your truth in yourself is, for me, it took a long time to find that truth where I felt comfortable enough to get on Sirius XM and speak like I speak when I'm in Oakland, hanging out with my brother and my grandmother, and find a way to articulate in a professional way when it's necessary. You know, show every side of myself, be vulnerable. You know, those are ways you could really appeal to other folks. I get a lot of love when I walk through this room. You know, a lot of people, I like to think, grew up watching MTV or listening to Sway in the morning.
For the wake-up show.
You feel a connection, maybe, you know, because I've been the same. I know my identity. So I think it's important that you know who you are, be comfortable in it, and then people will be comfortable with you. Same with artists. You know, a lot of folks, Reggie was saying about consistency. I can't tell you how many artists that we've invested in time and energy because they were hungry, they were humble, they were eager, they were determined, and then they did achieve some success, and we can't get them to come back to do a simple verse. The things that they were willing to do to get them to the place they wanted to be, they're no longer willing to do it. Yeah. You know, that's unfortunate, man. This is I think people look at the music business, what you were saying about podcasts. There are a lot of podcasts that are out there. It's easy. Technology has made it access really easy, but you got a lot of people who are functioning like they're deep in the game, but they got the rules missing. You know, the fundamentals. It's a gift to be able to entertain and talk to people on the mic and be in front of a camera, influence people's lives, and you know, people feel nostalgic when they're with you. If it's a hurricane, they're listening to you, so you can give them the information. If it's politics, they want to know your opinion. They want to be informed. That's a gift, you know, to be able to do that. That's a blessing. So and to be able to be a performing artist, to pursue your passion and get paid for it, and that's a gift, that's a blessing, so you gotta treat it like that. And I think when you're dealing with on-air personalities, you know, you being authentic is, to me, probably the key component that I've always tried to stay connected to, make sure what I'm saying is what I mean, and not trying to create shock jock moments for headlines or clickbait, or I'm not trying to do the cliche shit that everybody does. You know, I'm really trying to be real as I can, open and honest as I can on that show, and not get caught up in the industry type of rules and ways of doing business. Is really, I'm looking at a bigger picture. I want to affect people's lives. So it depends on what your purpose is. And my purpose is to affect people's lives, change their lives for the better, give them inspiration. Feel good about coming up on that show, man. Shit, you gotta rap. You're gonna have to spit. Millions of people look at that show and listen to that show. This is your chance, this is your one shot. Man, this is it. You know, you achieving your dream. You know, so I treat it with respect. I believe what you put into it, you get back out, and if you treat your craft with that kind of respect, it'll reward you, and you will stand out. Being an individuality is seen to be something that's kind of not really taken seriously. You know, we see it in music. You know, innovation was something that made Jay-Z, you know, stand out, something that made Pac stand out. Something that makes Chance the Rapper stands out. You know, he thinks about his projects, there's a concept behind it. There's nobody that really sounds like him other than his brother, or, you know, he's the first to do what he's doing. Finding a way to differentiate yourself from the crowd, from the flock, is really important, and that shows your authenticity, and that's how you can ensure yourself a place beyond the moment, beyond the headline. You can make a career out of this. So that's why I think authenticity is probably the key component to finding a personality on there.
Yeah. I want to build on authenticity, and even though your question is posed to air talent, it probably you know, applies to all the artists in here. You know, if you're true to what you to your brand, I know that word gets thrown around a lot. You know, if you're true to your brand, you know, and you're true to yourself, and you're true to your ethics and your values and all that stuff like that, it's gonna come shining through. It's funny because Sway, we actually met at another radio station, and we had a show before the QHT actually.
Say the station, man. Say the be real with it.
Well, you know what? That's not. It's the overall message.
Be authentic with it, Reggie. Say the station.
You know. Well, listen. There's a big radio station in New York City that I worked for prior to leaving it and going to Sirius XM, WQHT in New York, and they had a morning show that was kind of built on another energy, right? It was built on the type of energy that was completely opposite of Sway's brand, right? And that energy was really out there to New York City. New York City had gotten used to that energy, and Sway's energy was complete opposite: love. You know, I'm man enough to say it. It was love. It was love for this culture, love for people. You know, and now I've been inundated with that energy for 3 years. Then I got a guy coming in here, wake up every morning. I'm like, this ain't the energy that I'm used to. But you know what? And the program director at that particular time didn't understand that love energy ultimately, and I guess I didn't understand too, because I was riding the success of the energy that I was putting out. But that love energy will ultimately eclipse the other energy. You understand what I'm saying to you? Didn't understand it. So when we got to Sirius XM, and listen, he also told me that the energy that you put out is the energy that you got to deal with when you walk in these streets. And a lot of we go all over the world. We've been around the world now. We went to Canada. You don't want to go to some of the other places called broadcast, but we've been around the country and in other countries, I should say. And you know what? It's the same energy. It's the same energy that you're going to see when you walk through this crowd. It's an energy of love, as opposed to other people who put out other energy and they can't walk as freely as he walks around this planet. Authenticity is a biggie. You know what I'm saying? And no matter who you are, no matter what you stand for, just know that you got to stand for that energy that you put out there. You know, and for the past going on 4 years, we've been building on his authenticity in this culture. We're not trying to be the shock jock to ask who's beefing who and who's. I've never asked him. I rarely walk into the studio to even you know, hey, say this or say that, because I know as a radio veteran from his history that he understands responsibility, and he understands that millions of people are listening to him at any given time. So I can sleep easy knowing that he's not gonna wild out and say something crazy. You know what I'm saying? And you talked about podcasts and all that stuff like that, and I want to talk about, you know, just expanding to the artist about your material. You know, like, understand, anytime you pick up this microphone, which is why I kind of pump fake a lot of times, because, you know, when you throw out them words, they out there. You can't take them back. You know what I'm saying? You can't take them back. So regardless of if you're putting something out on the mic, or whether you got that podcast in your bedroom and you think that nobody's going to hear what you said about such and so, guess what? If you put your face out there, you got to deal with that energy. You know what I'm saying? And the last point I will make is, it don't matter who you are, if you are authentic. Like we took a girl from out of somebody's marketing and promotions office. You know, and now she's doing some really spectacular things on another platform, which shows you that, you know, as long as you stick to who you are and be authentic, you know, there's no telling where you can go with this thing.
I want to quickly chime in. No, first off, give it up. I want to quickly chime in on what he was talking about, I mean, the whole panel about authenticity, and just, you know, with Sway, you know, I have, you know, a lot of my dear friends are, you know, cats that really do their thing, you know what I mean? And I just want to say off top, from Scheme to YG to Mustard, like these are like my real friends, even Cali Swag. Every time we talk about, because we talk about any and everything, but when we get on interviews and stuff like that, the first person that they name as the most genuine, the best hospitality, and the best interview they all had was always Sway. Always Sway, hands down. Even the last one we just did with Mustard, like, you know, I just seen Mustard at the GS before I actually came to Cleveland like a couple of days ago. Sway, off top, most genuine, and that goes to what Boss Man is saying about just authenticity. Like, when you have that one thing that's you gotta spread that off top, you know what I'm saying? You want to be able to do that, you know what I'm saying? So hats off to all these gentlemen here, because they all have that authentic setup, you know what I'm saying? Even, you know, everybody, you know what I'm saying? Even HEff, you know what I'm saying? He don't smile a lot of times, but when he do, you know it's real.
We're gonna get into some crowd questions. HEff, before I do that, you know what? If I was somebody that had a lot of money today, right here, I would get an Uber, and I put M-City and Shoe in it, and I'd go to a studio and I'd make a song. That's what I would do if I had a lot of money today. I'd take those two and I could make a song. I'm just saying, that's what I would do. I don't know. Love to all the artists, but I just like to hear that. I just like to hear that record, you know what I mean? We're going to the state your name, random lady in the crowd. This is Vanity Star. She's another one of our co-hosts on the Big HEff Show, and we're glad to have her.
Thank you. Well, first off,